What's up, big ass niggas? This your boy J Miles, and I am back with another video. And you know what to do. If you're new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment, let me know what you're thinking. But most importantly, make sure you share it with your ugly ass friend. On today's video, we will be covering another Power Universe video, and this one right here is covered. It's basically called Ghost Isn't Dead, Ramona and Ghost the Unstoppable Soulmates. So what made me come up with this particular video, people? Well, I just recently pretty much have finished the entirety of the entire original Power. I'm currently on episode 614, so as you know, it's only 2 more episodes to go. And after rewatching, I was able to notice even more things. I feel like Power is one of those shows that no matter how many times you watch it, especially with all the, the speculation going on with whether Ghost is alive or not going on, it's like you notice more things each time you watch it. And I was able to uncover even more information on your girl Ramona Garrity. So she has a lot of things that's going on in here, y'all, that's very questionable. And I'm basically going to highlight all of those and cover how they were able to fake Ghost death and is later planning on resurfacing later on in either Force or Legacy. So basically I'm going to be covering today, diving into the Power Universe theory that could flip the entire storyline. Ghost and Ramona faking the death, and later on, like I said, appearing in a later spin-out. So we're gonna go ahead and just get right on into it. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into this video. Now, the last time that we saw James Ghost St. Patrick, he was shot at Truth nightclub. Everyone believed it was the end of his story, but if you really think about it, Ghost was, let's be real, people. Ghost was always 10 steps, not 3, like Kanan used to always talk about. Ghost was like 10 steps ahead of everybody when it came to this finessing power shit. You know what I'm saying? So y'all really believe that he was able to get caught slipping with all the holes that's left in this story? Y'all really believe he was caught slipping at the end of this video? You even can, to give you a little bit more clarity, you can go back to what 2-Bit said at the end of episode 611.
Stupid as fuck. That bitch ass nigga Dre killed Ghost? Come on, fuck out of here. If you knew anything about that motherfucker, you would definitely know that shit.
So as you can see, even 2-Bit knew that, there's no way Ghost would just go down easily like that. Like, this is when, and the correction, actually, this was actually on episode 615, not 611. But anyways, even 2-Bit knew, like, Ghost was way too cold. Like, this is another one that's kind of unsolved that, was said in the original Power, but they never really gave us a real explanation on what 2-Bit was talking about when he said that. But basically he's saying, come on, bro, Ghost way too cold for somebody like Dre to catch him slipping like that. But anyways, let's go ahead and go back to that tragic night. So as we know, Ghost was shot, at late at night. I think they said it was like 11 something at night. Really, the time doesn't matter. But he was allegedly shot and unalived at his club, Truth nightclub, right before he was going on to his campaign trail. But what we do know is that, Ghost, what I'm saying, like what I said, Ghost was always 10 steps ahead of each other. And what we got to think about is who was the last person outside of Tariq, and then of course, later on, Cooper Sacks and a couple of other people came in. But let's talk about everybody that was at the party. Who was the last person seen after the party and supposed to have met him up in an hour?
What a magical night.
It could not have gone any better.
Everything we wanted. I know we still have to talk.
Yep.
Should I meet you back at your hotel?
Now you talk. Sounds like a wonderful idea. Say about an hour.
So, as y'all can see, look at how they were. Those two were the last ones in the club. Outside of, we know later on, Tariq and Tasha showed up. And then, of course, later on, Dre tried to come in, but hurt the shot. Blanca was on her way in, but she got her ass knocked out. Yeah, and like I said, I think Cooper Sacks. So, but during this particular time, nobody else was in the club except Ghost and Ramona. They were the last two. So, as we just heard, she was like, look at how suspicious she sounds with this. I know we have, she's like, we have to talk. It's almost as if she knew they had a plan that they was about to execute, but she didn't necessarily want to, talk about it right there. And also, he was like, he gonna see her in the hour, and he gonna clean up stuff here. It's almost as if she said everything we wanted, right? And I'm gonna come back to this. Remember this. I'm definitely gonna come back to this part because this is gonna be pivotal later on in the video. She said everything we wanted. She started off with what a magical night. Everything we wanted. Now, but before we dive a little bit deeper into Ramona and Ghost's execution plan, the plan that they executed in order to fake his death, I want to go back to the beginning. Because as we know, Ramona Garrity was introduced to us in episode 603 as the political strategist extraordinaire that was appointed by the DNC in order to help Councilman Tate, win the governor's mansion, right? So she was there to help Tate, but ended up, pursuing Ghost. Well, James, I'm going to only refer to him. Sorry, last time I'm going to refer to him as Ghost, only in this particular video, when it comes to her at least. But I'm going to say James because she was invested in James. And that's going to make a whole lot more sense to you guys later on as I go through this video. But anyways, next, let's just go ahead and go into James and Ramona's first encounter.
Hi there.
Ramona Garrity, C political staffer, and you led the last presidential transition team.
Someone's done their homework.
Now, if we can just get that voting public to do theirs. Well, it's taken me some hard knocks to see the light, but we have that in common.
Do we?
Yes, I too come from humble beginnings. I worked hard to make something out of myself, Ramona. Make a family, give back to the community. That means so much to me.
Local corner boy does good. I've done my research on you too. No matter what comes your way, you always seem to land on your feet. You should have been a politician.
I don't know about that. Now you're reaching.
Well, your reputation's only a problem if it's true. Is it?
Now, as you can see, that there, in my opinion, was a kind of a hint that Ramona has something deep in her past life that she's hiding. Because as she was saying, because you see, she was very much okay with Ghost past. She knew who he was. I'm pretty certain before she walked in here, she already knew who he was before then, because it's literally her job to know this. So she she just told him your reputation is only a problem if it's true. So basically she was saying if they can prove, the public eye can prove what you were, then it's a problem. But if not, it doesn't really matter. She was even hinting at him there that he should be a politician. She was already trying to spark that seed up in him right then. He was like, I don't know about that. So that lets you know, I think, even from the beginning, she always had aspirations to possibly promoting him. And I'm going to show you throughout other videos more proof that was her plan all along. And to be honest with you, that's exactly the type of person that James needed at this particular part of his life. Actually, throughout his life in general, those were the type of person. That's the type of person that he needed. Because if you could remember, even Angela said back in what season? I don't know what season it was, but either way, when she was speaking to Tasha, she was saying, stupid isn't James' type, but she referred to him as Jamie. So she said, stupid isn't Jamie's type. So that lets you know there that Ghost was only into women that could show some level of value to his life. And Ramona absolutely was bringing this for him. So that right there lets you know that, she was indeed a match for him as far as a love interest. But she was also, calculated, calm, and always seemed as if she had some kind of hidden agenda. Like, she kept her moves hidden. And that's exactly the kind of person that, James would need if he was going to fake his death and disappear from the game. He needed Ramona to do this. So that's the start of this. Now, let's go ahead and dig a little bit more into Ramona's past life. So, here's where the theory gets even deeper. Ramona wasn't just a clean-cut politician. That's what I'm trying to imply to you guys, to let you know. I believe that she absolutely, I think one of the major reasons why she took a liking to James was because he was like her. A successful man that, had a bad, rough patch when it comes to his marriage. They shared that in common. Came from rough parts. I know they didn't really necessarily say in the story that Ramona come from the gutter, but we do have some level of proof that she did.
You probably think I haven't had one of those pointed at me before. Are you feisty?
So as you can see, when Alphonse was, doing the stage robbery that Ghost set up, he ended up seeing Ramona, and of course he was pressing her about the alleged sex tape that was out or whatever, and he put the gun up to her, and she said, "You probably think I haven't had one of those pointed at me before." Now that opened me up to know, okay, how else would somebody like Ramona have a gun pointed at her, before? Unless more than likely she probably was in that life. And think about it. Look how open she was to, promoting James, basically risking her career. Because that's pretty much what she was doing. She was essentially risking her career to get James on top, and wasn't too concerned about his past life. That's because I think she's seen her other side. Yeah, I think she was past life. Possibly, it wouldn't even surprise me if she was at some point some sort of queen pin or something like that. Not even if she wasn't a queen pin, I think she definitely had something to do with that in the past life. That was, of course, before she rebranded herself into into politics. So that's why she was never rattled by, James' lifestyle. She understood it, and she knew how to cover his tracks. And speaking of covering tracks, I have another very suspicious video that in Power Universe, it was never covered what exactly was going on here. Now, I'm once I show it to you guys in the comment sections, let me know I caught that too, but I never, they never revealed to us how this happened.
How'd you do it? Do what, Sean? Put the money back. I spoke with the accountants and they said everything's as it should be.
Gentlemen?
As I said it would be, right? Is that not what you wanted, Officer Tank?
Oh, you motherfucker.
Of course it's what I wanted.
I just don't like to be strung along.
So, as you just heard, if you can remember, episode 606, when Tariq was kidnapped, the fake staged kidnapping of Tariq, Ghost had to, stage a robbery so that he could get the money together. But in the midst of that robbery, remember, he had to borrow $1 million from Councilman Tate in order to, try to use that to support getting towards the $2 million. And then later on, Ghost was never, at least far as we saw on screen, he was never able to make that $1 million and to put it back into the account. So Tate here was asking, how did you do it? And you just saw from Ghost's reaction, he had no idea the money was back in there either. So the question is, how did the money get back in there? And then shortly after this, I know I kind of cut it off a little short, but Ramona appeared right after that, approached them. And I believe that it was Ramona who put the money back in the account, people. Because who else could have done it? Think about this. Rashad just let you know he had no idea about it. Ghost just let you know he had no idea about it. No one else was capable of doing this. Unless maybe you want to say Stephen Ott did it, but I seriously doubt it. Stephen Ott hasn't even been shown yet during that time, and why else would they write it in for him to do it? It makes way more sense that Ramona, some kind of way, maybe she has pockets like that. Maybe she does. I don't know. But it's clear as day, Ramona did something to put that money either back into the account, or maybe she handled it that they didn't recognize that the money was missing. She told them to just look over it. Whatever it is she did, she was protecting James even then. And this is before they had any level of intimacy. Of course, they had some connections and stuff. You could kind of see it happening, us as the viewers, but on screen, they never showed us anything intimate with them, right? So that's another major to let you know she has some kind of secret that she is holding. And also, we have even more proof about Ramona's secrets.
Who was that?
Paz Valdez. That was Angela Valdez's sister.
You were very gentle with her.
Well, we both lost someone dear to us, so neither one of us will ever be the same.
I don't think I can compete with a ghost, James.
No, you're not. I'm right here.
I don't want you to compete with my past either. My ex-husband and I, our marriage failed because we both had secrets. I'm not an open person by nature, but I'm willing to try. Do you think we could have fewer secrets between us? I heard Paz ask about Angela working to keep you out of jail. What? James, if the feds are targeting you again, Lorette needs to know.
Everything's okay.
I need to know.
No, hey. I just said everything's okay, I promise, okay?
So, pretty much as you see here in this video, people. Well, this is a clip. This comes from episode 610. Ramona basically let us know here that she does have secrets, people. And she let us know that she's a secretive person. She said her marriage failed because her and her husband had way too much secrets between them. And she was asking Ghost, could we have less secrets? And James during this time said, okay, I'm not keeping any secrets and stuff like that. I'm right here. And I believe that this moment here, because I think Ghost Ben obviously was considering Ramona. But it wasn't until this moment here that, not necessarily this moment here, but after he's seen how she was willing to put her whole career on the line to make sure he made it, and he bumped her up. Because if you let's pay attention. Look at Ghost's history, right? He married Tasha. Why? Because he knew he had her loyalty when she hid that gun for him when the police pulled them over. He not exactly sure what's the reason he was so into Angela. I don't think that was necessarily said, but you remember when he gave Tasha the second ring, he said, the first time I did this was because you made me a better criminal, but this time you made me a better man. So this is telling you that he is very much invested into women, that invested into him, that he can trust, that is loyal to him. And Ramona has absolutely shown that. Putting him before Tate, putting her career on the line, and now letting him know that, she had trouble with secrets. I believe everything that's going on with this scandal, she probably told him. And I believe he then revealed to her. Because, before I forget, she also mentioned if anything is going on with you that makes you another target for the feds, Lorette needs to know and I needs to know. So even then, she was like, look, if it's another thing that's coming your way, let me know so I can try to handle it. Why would she go all out like that for somebody that she doesn't really know that well? And I'm telling you, the reason why is because she has that same type of life. And I think they shared it with each other. And that's when Ghost was like, okay, I got somebody that I know I can share this plan with to help me execute it. So that's this, I believe it was this moment here when the plan was written up between those two. Also, I believe it was after this moment, once Ramona was once Ghost let her know the plan that he had, that's when she was just blown away. She was like, this nigga is an absolute genius. He done already strategically came up with a solution to get out of this life that he is in and still have the ability to come back later on while successfully getting his son to still attend school, getting his wife out of his life, wiping out all of his injuries, waiting on everything to cool down, and then later come back into his life. And I think that is the reason why we got this.
You can stop him. There are some people who are just unstoppable.
So, this clip here is another one that was just weird as hell for all of us once we first seen this particular episode 612. Everyone was like, why the hell was Ramona looking so weird? And she was saying some people are just unstoppable. The writers didn't just put this in here, people, just to put this in here. Like, for all the naysayers, the people that believe that Ghost is dead, let me know. Give me a good answer in the comment section. What is the reasoning for them saying, putting this particular scene in here, having her say some people are just unstoppable? Because she hasn't really seen anything from Ghost. Like, she could have heard along the way, you know what I'm saying, of some of the things that he has done, but she really doesn't have a major reason to believe that he is unstoppable. But I believe after him and her going over that plan that he had written up, she was like, this dude is a genius. And I think he's unstoppable. He's going to be like, this dude is going to have the power of the Democratic Party that's going to help him execute this plan, wipe out his enemies, and he's going to basically become Machiavelli in return later on in the life, and he's going to be able to do it with the power of the Democratic parties backing him. So he's not going to have an issue with, people trying to arrest him, because it is illegal to fake your death, but not if the Democratic Party is backing you. They can do whatever you should know from experience, they do whatever the hell they want to do. And then on top of that, they have a legitimate reason. Now all they have to do is say there was a legit threat to his life. As you can see, he was shot inside of his nightclub. So in order to save his life, we pronounced him dead so that he can recover and we can get rid of all of the threats. And then later on, he returns. That's all they have to do in order to successfully bring him back. Now, let's fast forward on to the future, people. As Tommy's story is unfolding in Power Book 4/4, and fans are waiting for, legacy, we can't help but to think, and of course a lot of fans have already been talking about it, of course content creators such as myself and others as well. What if Ghost was to return to power after, after the conclusion of Force, or maybe possibly during the middle of it, or maybe they'll give us a major hint during Force that he could end up returning, doing Legacy, like the newest one that we know is coming with Legacy, that's going to be featuring Tariq and Tommy. So my thing is it possible that, Ramona as well? What if Ghost and Ramona make their grand return together? Not separately, but together. Because think about this, people. Here's another major hint that Ghost is still alive, people. It just doesn't make sense. The disappearance of Ramona, people. All of the other characters that disappeared from power, they were a major character, like there was a big enough character, they disappeared by either, let's just say they left and went somewhere, they went to prison, or they were unalived, right? We got some sort of conclusion, closure to their storyline, except Ramona. I want to say Ramona is the only character that was kind of big, major to the storyline. When I'm talking about major to the storyline, people, I'm saying they were in multiple episodes with a heavy featuring of like they had a lot of lines. There was a recurring character, and they were saying in pretty much every episode that season. That is what I'm talking about. Not smaller characters that show up here and there. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about someone like Ramona, who is Ghost's love interest, who's the biggest character of Power. She just disappears, and we don't even bat an eye. We don't like, dang, what? Because I mean, of course, we talked about it a little bit and was like, what happened to Ramona, but we never really got closure to what exactly happened to her. We just pretty much was just went with the flow. Like, okay, well, no Ramona. They didn't give us no explanation, but yeah, no Ramona. And it just didn't make any damn sense to shit. I know it damn so don't make sense to me. So they gotta still give us that. What the heck happened with Ramona? Because what I believe happened is that she's going to return, but they have to get things right with the Ghost storyline before she returns. Because every other character, Rashad, shit, even Stephen I, even Uncle Gabe came back. And speaking of all these people, all of them were acting weird as if they knew something. But this is my thing. I believe they're going to show up and they're going to show up together eventually in probably Legacy. Maybe Ghost will show up by himself, possibly in Fourth, or maybe he will show up with her. Because I told you, I do think Ramona potentially has a storyline where she was potentially a gangster back in the day. I think that is up for grabs as a possibility. So what I'm saying is they never gave us a closure to her storyline, and it's a major red flag. To me, the only explanation is because she is with Ghost people. There's no other reason why she would just disappear. So one of the biggest people part of the DNC just disappears out of nowhere. In thin air. Oh, I don't want to do nothing with politics no more. I don't want nothing to do with none of that no more. She just disappeared. I'm not buying it. But lastly, remember I told you guys the other video that I was going to come back to, and that one is
could not have gone any better.
Everything we wanted. I know we still have to talk.
Yep.
Should I meet you back at your hotel?
Now you're talking. Sounds like a wonderful idea. Say about an hour. I just gotta clean up a few things around here, okay? And I'll be right there.
All right.
Okay.
So you can't tell me that they ain't got no plan here. But the reason why I said I was going to come back to this, listen to what she said. What a magical night. Exactly as, hold on, let me go back. I want to make sure I get it right. Exactly what she said.
God ain't better.
Everything we wanted.
That's what it was. Everything we wanted. Now, ugly ass niggas is probably not paying attention to things, right? So let me break it down for you. What's the name of this episode, people? Not this episode, sorry, because this is episode 16. But what's the name of the very last episode of OG Power? Exactly as we planned. Now let's break that down, people. It says exactly as we planned. Now, normally, I know when we first watched this, a lot of people assume when they say exactly as we planned, they assumed they were talking about Tariq and Tasha. No, they weren't. It doesn't make sense. Think about this. It doesn't make sense. If it was exactly as Tariq and Tasha planned, first off, their plan, as we saw in the episode, was for Tasha to unalive Ghost and then get out of there. So that's the first part of their plan that didn't go well, because it wasn't Tasha. It turned out to be Tariq. Then on top of that, Tariq did it and Tasha ended up getting arrested. That is nowhere near the plan they were talking about. I'm pretty sure. Now, ugly ass niggas can try to make the argument saying, yeah, but then, of course the plan just went bad, but that's what they were originally planning. No. Like you just heard Ramona say, everything we wanted. The reason why she said that, and also in the episode 612 with Paz, saying that some people are just unstoppable. And keep in mind, the name of that episode is He Always Wins. And of course, you know, it comes from the lines of Tasha when she was speaking to Paz, saying, there is no beating him. He always wins. And keep in mind, at the end of the episode, Paz was like, wait, he lost. Because she thought he was killed. But no, they executed a plan. He did win. Because like the episode says, he always wins. And then go to episode 615. He won exactly as these two planned. When they were saying exactly as we planned, they were referring to Ghost, actually James, and Ramona. And the reason why I've been trying to make a distinction between using Ghost when it refers to Ramona is because, shout out to my boy DeMarcus, he was the one who actually put me on game with this, and I was like, you know what, that's exactly the best way to describe this. Ghost has had 3 major love interests throughout Power that we know of. The first one was Angela, the second was Tasha, and the last is Ramona. Ghost also has 3 aliases, well, three names that he goes by majorly, right? Angie was in love with Jamie, right? She was in love with Jamie because that's who she knew growing up. She never really got past Jamie, and that's why she couldn't make her detachment to him. Even though at that current time, he was Ghost, battling himself to try to be Jamie for her again, but Jamie was gone. He was now Ghost, and he was fighting against, you know, between two worlds, like Tommy described it as, and you know, he just wasn't able to necessarily achieve that with her because of her being who she is and him being who he was. Angela kind of later on was kind of willing to accept him for who he really was, but it was kind of too late. Now go to Tasha. Think about this. Tasha never wanted to accept him as Ghost. I mean, as Jamie. Think about it. That's the reason why at the end, you know, Ghost said to her,
remember? The biggest goddamn drug dealer in New York City. That's who the fuck you loved.
So, as you see, Tasha was in love with Ghost, which is what his street name was. She was in love with the biggest goddamn drug dealer in New York City. She proved this in season 1, and that's what he's referring to when he first asked her when we met, what did you think I was going to be? And you could see it in his eyes that he was hurt after she said the biggest goddamn drug dealer in New York City. So she never thought about him more than a big time drug dealer that could bring in a lot of money to support her lifestyle. That's why he referred to her as the half smart chicken head who would still be in the hood if it wasn't for him. Because she couldn't see past a life past drug dealing. Now you get to Ramona, and she is the first one to love him for who he really was now as James. So Angela was his past, Tasha was his present, but Ramona is the future. So that I believe we will see them again in Power Legacy, because she is the first one to really love him as James. Angie loved Jamie, Tasha loved Ghost, Ramona loves James. So that is why that Ramona is the true soulmate of your boy James St. Patrick. That's why if you pay attention, I've been saying James, even though I did slip up and say Ghost a couple times, but shut y'all little glass up. I meant James this last niggas. She is the true soulmate of him because she is the best of both worlds. She's accepting him for his past because she has a past. And she knows what their life is like. And on top of that, she's competent enough to be able to help him if he struggles. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that life was to come back and resurface, she can deal with it because she understands it. And I'm pretty sure we're going to find out in Legacy that she also has a past that he's going to have to deal with. Now, what are those things that exactly she has? I guess we're going to have to just wait and see. But pretty much that's all I got for y'all as far as this particular video, good people. So let me know. Do you still believe that, for the people that believe that Ghost was dead, do you still believe Ghost is dead? And also, let me know in the comment section, do you believe Ramona, let's say even if you do believe that he's still dead, do you believe Ramona was possibly his best love interest? Like, was she the best match for him as what you would call a quote unquote soulmate? Let me know all of that and more in these comment sections. But like usual, if you're cool with me, fool with me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave a like, comment, let me know what you're thinking. But most importantly, make sure you share with your ugly ass friends. But until the next video, I'm out.